Trading on high streets up and down the southwest is still tough and anxiety about the future remains high. That's the view from traders and consumers, even though the UK has narrowly avoided a triple-dip recession. Well, tonight, in a series of reports, we'll hear from businesses of all shapes and sizes, starting with the view from the high street. Food banks and pound shops are now springing up in towns where 5 years ago they'd have been virtually unthinkable. For our first report tonight, our business correspondent Neil Gallagher has been to Tavistock in West Devon.
Tavistock crops up now and again in lists of Britain's most favoured market towns. But the reality of life and work here in 2013 doesn't always match the image. In this discount store, the proprietors have had an uncomfortable rollercoaster ride in recent years.
These are the photos of how we used to look and some of the events that we used to do. And this was me with our French furniture, our £40 a roll wallpaper, and it was all displayed very, very attractively, very pleasing to the eye.
Val and her husband started out with a venture that could hardly have been more different.
We opened as a very nice organic cosmetic and luxury toiletry shop, and which didn't fare particularly well. And we managed to sort of scrape that by for about 11 months, but unfortunately that business failed. And so in the first instance we turned from a posh shop to a pound shop.
Tavistock's certainly not the most deprived of towns. It has a big retired population, some of whom are undeniably doing okay.
I'm a lucky person in the sense I've got a final salary pension, one of the few. I feel sorry for the next generation without that protection.
We're careful, we don't go mad.
But you're managing?
Fine, yeah.
A few hundred yards from Val's discount store, but a million miles away in style, is this most upmarket of grocers. Kriebers say even their customers are noticeably more cautious than a couple of years ago.
I get the feeling they haven't got a lot of spare cash, and perhaps if one has, then they're hanging on to it in case there's a surprise or a shock around the corner.
The view from the taxi rank echoes that.
You're only 3 wage packets away from being on the streets, and people know that, and they live accordingly. Now that the credit crunch has hit us and people can't get credit, you live from day to day, and what you can't have, you don't have.
Back to Val from the discount store. On top of her normal 64-hour working week, she helps run Tavistock's food bank.
We hear people's stories in the shop and we hear the plight of people, and the thought that we were able to help people. I hate to think that there's somebody out there in Tavistock who's hungry. I truly do. And, that would push me on. No matter how many hours a week I worked, if I thought I was feeding somebody, that's fine.
Val says since the recent budget, demand for the food bank has almost tripled. Clients are often in work, but struggling. Neil Gallagher, BBC Spotlight, Tavistock.